Hello there my friends, my name is Riskfish and today I'm bringing you a video on ReZero. ReZero is one of the most popular and in-depth stories of the past decade, however despite this it still has many overlooked elements in its story, and today I will be exploring one of them. My theory is that Subaru's deaths throughout the story are the consequences of him making deeply sinful choices and can be avoided by him choosing a more virtuous path. Today we'll be carrying on from Arc 1, looking into Arc 2 which deals with the sin of wrath and the virtue of patience. But what exactly is the difference between the two? The key difference between the two is that wrath is an intense emotional state involving a hostile response to a perceived threat, while patience is the ability to endure these difficult circumstances with perseverance, tolerance and forbearance. A great example of wrath can be seen in this train scene from the Joker. The Joker's objective is to escape the police, and so he steals a mask from Guy A. Guy A pushes the Joker into Guy B. Guy B, who didn't see the Joker commit the original crime stealing the mask, turns around and perceives Guy A to be the cause. The result is that the two fight and wrath engulfs the train. The important thing to note is that the Joker, the original cause of wrath, isn't targeted and walks away unharmed, having achieved his objective of escaping the police. This is similar to Arc 2 because while the Marbeast is the true antagonist of the arc, Rem's anger and Subaru's fear cause them to perceive each other as the threat. The result is that the Marbeast, just like the Joker, wins every time, achieving its objective of feeding on the village children. It is also worth mentioning that while wrath may be often associated with anger, it can include other strong emotional states such as fear. Let's take a look at each route in detail. Death Route 1. Uncertainty versus certainty, offering clarity and doubt. Subaru's first death is unique in the series for two reasons. Firstly, it isn't caused by his own actions. Secondly, the cause of death is unknown. This is important to the theme of the arc because wrath isn't just an emotional state from a threat, it's a reaction from a perceived threat. The unclear culprit in Route 1 means that when Rem kills him in Routes 2 and 3, Subaru assumes that she is responsible for his original death as well, believing she is a shaman. The uncertainty for Subaru is only cleared in Route 4 when the shaman kills Rem, revealing them to be different identities. This doesn't mean that Rem didn't kill him in the first route though, because as we find out, Roswell and Rem had considered the possibility of him being a spy, but had ultimately ruled it out due to how conspicuous he was. Rem, however, was more suspicious due to the smell of the witch. Two of the essential scenes to figure out his cause of death in the first route are also missing. These are Subaru's trip to the village, which causes him to be cursed, and Rem's nighttime study, which is likely a big factor for Rem's hatred of Subaru. There is even the possibility that Rem went to the village and was cursed instead. When it was activated, she moved to kill Subaru, believing he was a shaman due to the witch's spell, killing him in his sleep. I believe keeping Subaru's death a mystery and leaving out these two key scenes was the intent of the author, as it shows how people in emotional situations can be quick to blame the wrong person in the absence of a clear culprit. This is pretty much the nature of wrath. This trait of misdirected blame can also be seen in the other routes, with the Marbeast always surviving and killing the children, while Rem and Subaru blame each other. In the correct route, what is key though is that both Subaru and Rem overcome wrath when they find out about the actual shaman. This is because the Marbeast is a clear sign of danger, threatening a group they both want to protect, which is a higher priority than their mere suspicions of each other. Subaru also offers clarity to Rem by telling her he wants to save the children and their ambitions, demonstrating a closeness to them. Importantly, he also mentions the witch sent directly to her and offers to explain it later. This reassures her, helping clear some of the suspicion around Subaru and reinforcing the idea that he isn't such a bad guy, which in turn lets them focus on the true threat, the Marbeast. Death Route 2. Carelessness vs self-awareness. How others perceive you. Subaru's second death is primarily caused by carelessness, which leads to him being killed by Rem while he is suffering from the curse. Arc 4 actually shows us the aftermath of Subaru's death here, revealing Rem's motivations. It shows that Rem had an extreme distrust towards Subaru and was angered by his closeness to Rem. Rem also tries to justify her kill, saying that Subaru was dying from the curse anyway, and that it was a mercy kill. However, the barbarity shown to his corpse reveals the truth, that she hated Subaru due to how close he was with her sister. In terms of what actually caused this death, however, there are a few factors. The first and most important is that Ram starts giving Subaru night lessons and spending a lot of time with him. Since Ram is Rem's only family, she definitely feels protective of her and is scared of having her taken away. The other big factor is actually the problems caused by return by death. Subaru has knowledge from his previous routes, such as how Ram skins potatoes by holding the knife and rotating the potato. You see a very visible reaction from Rem when he says this, because not only could it suggest a closeness to Ram, but knowing something he shouldn't could be classed as evidence of spying. The stench of the witch also increases with the uses of return by death, so it is more noticeable in this route than in his first. Remember that Rem and Ram's village was destroyed by the cult, so not only does Rem have a hatred of the cult, it also makes her feel fear for her sister's sake. In the correct route, Rem witnesses the lap pillow from Amelia. This is important because in Arc 4 after Subaru's death we see Rem show regret when she sees the sorrow on Amelia's face and realises just how close they actually are. The lap pillow scene is important because all the other interactions between Subaru and Amelia that Rem witnesses are just light-hearted gossip. However, in this scene Subaru shows genuine vulnerability to her, showing a bond of trust. Rem witnesses this strong bond of weakness, which not only makes him seem less of a threat to her, but also to her relationship with Ram, as he has Amelia. We also learn in Route 4 that Rem holds Subaru's hand when he is having a nightmare, showing that Rem is incredibly sympathetic to others showing vulnerability. Death Route 3, Deception vs Sincerity, Consequences of Lying. Subaru's third death is caused by deception, which leads to Rem and Ram killing him. In this route Subaru does not work at the mansion, instead choosing to be a guest. The result is that he doesn't develop any bonds with either Rem or Ram, and he also doesn't impress Roswell with his enthusiasm, like he did in the first route. He is literally a stranger there who is smelling even more like the witch after his second death. The big mistake that Subaru makes, however, is that he lies to all of the Amelia camp, including Roswell and Amelia, saying that he will leave. Instead, he takes up a position on a ridge and spies on the mansion when he is already suspected of being a witch cult spy. It is also likely that Roswell put a tracking spell on the bag he gave to Subaru, which could be how Rem and Ram found him. Additionally, while Rem launches the main attack, Subaru's leg and throat are not cut by Rem's Morningstar, they are actually cut by Ram's wind magic. Although she never shows herself, it is mentioned at the end that she is there, which shows just how far he's gone out of favour with the other residents of the mansion. In the correct route, Subaru actively tries to avoid any kind of deception. In fact, he goes back to his original method of working directly with the chins to win them over with sincere work. While Roswell and Ram are cautious because he still knows things he shouldn't, like where the vases are, his enthusiasm and the fact that he doesn't do anything stupid like spying on the mansion from the woods mean that Rem views him positively enough not to act this time. He also shows a bit more sincerity to Beatrice, which leads to her helping him with the curses, rather than just throwing him out of the library. The sincerity even pays off at the end of the episode, because when he praises Rem, she knows he is being serious, which ultimately goes a long way to the deep connection they later have. Death Route 4, Resentment vs Forgiveness, Regaining Control of Emotion. Subaru's final death is the result of him committing suicide by jumping off a cliff, and is caused by his own resentment. The important thing to remember is that this route is characterised by Subaru's wrath, because Subaru is consumed by fear of Rem, who he wrongly believes is a shaman. He even tries to push Amelia away at first, directing some wrath at her. Though Beatrice actually ends up being the pivotal character in this route, because she shows mercy to Subaru, patiently protecting him, enabling him to calm down and leave his state of wrath. The result is that when Rem dies and Subaru realises that she is not the shaman, he is able to forgive her, even sacrificing himself to save her, which in turn ends the cycle of wrath and lets both of them face the true danger to the mansion, the Marbeast. In the correct route, Subaru further shows his forgiveness of Rem by sacrificing himself a second time to protect her from the Marbeast. The result is that Rem not only forgives Subaru, but is also overcome with regret at the feelings she had towards him, leading her to hunt the Marbeast to remove the curses from him as a form of atonement. The purpose of Arc 2, the cause of wrath and its consequences. Subaru's overcoming of wrath is crucial for the development of his character, because he learns how wrath is a never-ending cycle that drags more people into it. For example, if Rem dies, then Ram turns to wrath. However, in Arc 4 it is shown that if Rem kills Subaru instead, then Amelia leaves Roswell due to her own wrath. One of the worst case scenarios of this can be seen in the If Wrath spin-off from Arc 2. This shows what happens if Subaru isn't able to forgive Rem, as Subaru is overwhelmed by wrath becoming the Purge King, dragging almost all of the cast of ReZero into a state of wrath with him, until he himself is also consumed. The real irony with this route is that the Marbeast, the true threat and danger to the mansion that caused everything, still wins, and ends up eating the children, which brings us on to the second lesson of wrath, that leads to the wrong people being blamed and lets the actual villains walk free. This can also be seen in Priscilla, when Sirius, the source of wrath, is untouched, but everyone else is killing each other for Sirius's actions. You can also see this in the Joker video, as he walks away scot-free as well, blending into the crowd while everyone else is consumed by wrath. Beatrice also shows the dangers of wrath, showing that actions done in a state of wrath cannot be undone and will often come to be regretted by those that did them. Conclusion. The final lesson that Subaru learns is that wrath can't be overcome with more wrath, but rather patience instead. This is seen with Rem, as while he knows that she hates and distrusts him all throughout the correct route, he instead patiently keeps trying to win her over and reassure her, removing the doubts that she has rather than fighting fire with fire. The end result is that he is able to forgive her and she is able to forgive him, ending the cycle of wrath and allowing him to defeat the Marbeast. This brings us to the end of the video. If you have enjoyed, why not leave a comment letting me know, and I hope to see you next time.